Today we have the CEO of Invisio, Lars Højgaard Hansen here. Will tell us all about the company and its exciting future plans. So
Absolutely.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. Great to be here. As said, I'm the CEO of Invisio since 13 years back, and Invisio is today the global world leader of advanced hearing protection and communication systems. So the purpose of our company is to try to remove noise-induced hearing loss from the face of the earth. We believe that people that are exposed to high noise when they work should really be well protected and should not be exposed to things that will damage their hearing. So we try to protect people that work in noisy environments, people like in the army, police officers, firefighters, and others that works where it's really, really noisy. So one thing is to protect their hearing. Another thing is also to make sure they can hear what is going on still while it's noisy, and also that they can communicate with each other and give each other important information when it's really noisy. Our personal radio systems, as we call them, are consisting of a small headset, as you can see in the ears of these two gentlemen. And the person on the left has a small control box on his shoulder that he uses to communicate with his team. And then normally they will have a communication radio on the back that is transmitting to the team or to the headquarters. So this is the system we sell. And we are a company which is listed on Nasdaq Stockholm Mid Cap since 2015. We are about 100 people, headquartered in Copenhagen, based in the cluster of hearing technologies in Copenhagen. We are having a fairly simple business model. We do research and development, sales and marketing in-house. And then we work with very skilled professional partners when it comes to manufacturing, which means that we can scale our manufacturing up and down quite easily without any costs for us because we don't own the manufacturing plants. We sell mostly through partners, but we also sell more and more direct today. We have opened our own offices in the US, France, Italy, and also in the Far East lately. So we will see more and more direct sales over the coming years, which of course gives us a little more cost, but also gives us a better gross margin when we are selling our products. Traditionally, when we started out, the biggest opportunities were with military, because we could see that, especially after the activities in the Middle East, there were hundreds of thousands of people coming back with permanent hearing damage and hearing loss. And actually, this is the biggest single cost for the US Veterans Administration, paying compensation, handing out hearing aids, and re-educating people that can no longer work because their hearing is severely damaged. So it's a huge cost for society with all these people being hearing impaired and hearing damaged. So we try to work with different military organizations around the globe to help them with this issue. So we have been, in this regard, extremely successful. Normally, the sales process is through public tenders where the government or the organization will go out and ask for certain system requirements for a large amount of people. And since 2012, where our first large customer was the Danish Army, we have been very successful in the key Western and NATO countries, starting with the US Army in 2013, the British Army in 15, Canadian in 15, Australia 15, and so forth. And a number of programs have been added in recent years, and also especially in 2019. Actually, the later part of 2019, the third quarter, has been a real successful period for the company. We have won a number of large contracts. We have also won some large contracts within police that I will get back to. So this is how we drive the business, sell through large public tenders. We have, for the sake of trying to describe the market, made a small calculation on the size of the addressable market for the military. And there are about 2 million potential users that we see as the addressable market for us. And this means that these are the people we believe will have a communication radio within a foreseeable future and will need our type of system. For these 2 million people, we believe the annual target market for Invisio is about 5 billion Swedish kroner. As I said, we are just now entering also larger programs within the police force, and there we are working on market numbers to be released over the coming quarters. We also have another product area that I will get back to that we are working on, which will add to the total addressable market, which is of interest to Invisio. So we have a simple strategy. The 2 million people that I just mentioned were the target markets. We have so far only sold to about 200,000 in brackets, which means we've sold to less than 10% of them. So there's still a huge potential with the remaining 90% in many different markets in Western Europe and also in the US. So therefore, we still have a lot of activities going on to increase our market share in both Europe, North America, and Oceania. That's also why we open office in the US, for instance. So a lot to be done there. But geographical expansion is also on our plate in terms of addressing markets in especially Far East Asia, South America, and certain parts of the Middle East, where we believe there's a huge potential for our types of products. Just yesterday, we announced a press release regarding Japan, where we have been selected for the Olympics next year by the Japanese police. We got an order, first order for about 10 million kroner, where, as I said, the Japanese police will use our equipment in their security work around the 2020 Olympics. So this is one of the first breakthroughs we have in the Far East Asia region. Product development is where we spend a lot of our money and resources. We are a very profitable company. We have a sound financial situation. We have no debt, and we allow ourselves to invest where we see opportunities into new product areas. On that note, we have a financial target of growing the company's revenue about 20% in average per year, with an EBIT margin not less than 15%. If you check our reports, you will see that we are far above 15% EBIT margin, but the 15% should be seen more as a floor that we cannot drop below, even though that we invest heavily in expansion. Last but not least, cost efficiency. Again, the business model that we apply with external manufacturing is extremely efficient for us. It also it means very little fixed cost, and we are able to negotiate with different suppliers when we have a new product that needs to be manufactured. Now, those of you that know Invisio and have followed us over years will know that our order intake, since we sell to governments and big tenders, that the order intake, as you can see on the left-hand side, fluctuates greatly between the quarters. Some quarters we have very little order intake. Quarters after, we have huge order intake. That's just the nature of the business. But of course, as we grow now and we have more and more companies or countries that we sell to, it will, of course, smoothen out a little bit. But you can see also in 2018, there is great variation between the quarters. On the right-hand side, on the staples, you can see then our sales, our revenue, and there it's a little more even, but still some fluctuations. We try to keep a considerable amount of stock so that we can deliver to our customers within at least 1.5 quarters, so that we are able to fulfill their requirements for when they need the products, but also that means our revenue is a little bit more smooth. Now, the line that you see is our revenue if you take it on a 12-month rolling average. And as you can see there, the development is much more stable and going in the right direction. So, as I always say, if you want to evaluate Invisio, you should definitely do it on a longer-term basis than just a few quarters. In the third quarter, as I said, we have had some very important developments in the company. One of the larger ones was the fact that we were chosen by the US Marine Corps to a program called Hearing Enhancement, where it is intended that between 7,000 and 65,000 Marine soldiers should be equipped with modern hearing protection. We got the first order of about 40 million Swedish kronor during that quarter. but we do expect that now the next financial year is starting in the US, that we will see more orders for this customer. And the potential is really great here because the Marines are many more than 65,000. They are actually 210,000. So a huge potential and also a huge feather in the hat for us because it's a very prominent group, of course, that everyone knows about. Similarly, the American Department of Defense gave us a 5-year so-called IDIQ contract, which basically means that we are not guaranteed anything under this period of time. But the maximum order value over the 5 years is $30 million, approximately 290 Swedish kroner. And we are pretty sure that this money will be spent because we know that they need it. And we also know that this is a continuation of a contract we got in 2017, where they have used the first $11-12 million under that contract that expired, and now they have given us a new contract for 30 million. So for me, that is a proof that they are very satisfied with what they've been buying from us and our deliveries, and therefore they have now given us a new contract for a much larger amount. In Europe, we were chosen by Belgium in a partnership with Thales to deliver a new hearing protection system for the entire Belgium army. We received 2 orders in total of 55 million Swedish kroner from the Belgian army. And we of course know that once we get in there and the contracts are running, then there are potential for further orders. The good thing about these contracts is that they are normally long, 4 or 5 years, with normally that you have an option to extend for another 2 or 3 years. So normally between 4 and 6 years, we are having a so-called monopoly on this customer. They do not buy from more than one source. So as long as we do well and treat them right, then we will have a very strong position with our army customers for a long period of time. And then, as I said, in Sweden, we were awarded 2 framework agreements with the Swedish police. This is the largest police order we have seen so far. We did get an order from Germany earlier this year, so the police market is really a priority for us. But Sweden is the first time we see a country where we think the intention is to equip the entire police force. As you can see on the quote from the assignment leader, Per-Olof Olsson, it is the intention to make this solution available to as many police officers as possible in Sweden, as much as the budget allows for. The first order we got from them was for 19 million that we are supposed to deliver before the end of the year. But we believe the potential for us is between 50 and 75 million kroner as more and more police officers will be equipped. And we are, of course, very happy to hear that the politicians in Sweden are considering doubling the amount of police officers up until 2023. Good for the police and also good for us in this regard. Then I would just like to brief on a new product category that we are just launching, which is around communication in vehicles. And this might be seeing a little threatening, but this is actually not only for military, this is equally important for police. And this is about being able to communicate with each other when you are in vehicles, because the systems we give people today allows them to communicate when they are out and about in the field. In vehicles, it's a little more tricky, and we have been asked by several countries and users about trying to make a simple intercom system that will allow them to talk to each other when they are being transported, either in a vehicle, in a boat, or in a helicopter, and it should be light and portable and easy to carry. So therefore, we came up with a system like this that we call intercom in a bag, which basically means that the radio responsible in a group of people will carry some special radios. It could be satellite communication or other types of radios that he has in the bag, some antennas and batteries, and then the little Invisio intercom system. And when they enter into one of these types of vehicles from the backpack, it will be possible to take out the radios, the intercom, some cables, and connect everybody, and then they will have a group communication system that they can use and use the external radios. and as soon as they leave the vehicle again, they just put it back into the backpack and move. So this is a very innovative new concept where we think we have very little competition. This is again driven by customer demand, both within military and police. So we think this is a very, very interesting area for Invisio. We will try to quantify it a little bit over the coming quarters, but so far we have said that we believe this area will be as important in revenue as our existing business. So this is a huge potential for us over the coming years, but it will take a little time, as this is also things that are sold under tenders and contract. So all in all, when you look at Invisio, as a summary, we are trying to help people that do really important works in police, in military, in firefighting, trying to protect their hearing, help them communicate. We have seen some really good progress over the last 7 years, but especially in 2019 with some very large contracts in military and in the police that will help us grow to our ambitions over the coming years. And we have a new product category for communication in vehicles that will further enhance the possibilities for the company to continue to grow over the coming years. That was it. Ready for questions?
Yes. Thank you, Lars. First off, I know you're expanding to new geographical markets like South America and the Middle East, and I was just wondering, are you allowed to sell your products to army forces in these countries, and how do you view that? Is it problematic, or is it?
So from a legal standpoint, it's not problematic because we are not classified in any form or shape as military equipment. This is personal protection equipment. We protect people, so we can sell to anybody we want. That being said, we are of course also cautious about not selling to problematic areas. So what we normally do is we follow the radio manufacturers. So some of the large radio manufacturers are Thales, Harris, Motorola, and others, and we of course see where they are selling. So if they are selling to Malaysia and they believe that's fine, then we will also do that if we don't. If we are ever in doubt, we will ask both the Danish and the Swedish authorities about certain customers and so on, if there should be a problem. But in theory, we can sell to anybody. We are not in any form or shape classified as military. I know we have a lot of military pictures, but we are not classified as military, and we are selling to a lot other than military. But we also have to be honest and say that we have a lot of people in the military who has issues with hearing damage and so on. So we are trying to help these young people, 25-year-old that goes into the army and bang, his hearing is gone for the rest of his life. We don't think that's fair.
Awesome. And also you've mentioned that you're broadening your target market with police forces. And what are some of the challenges you faced selling to police versus army forces? Are there shorter lead times? Are they longer? How did the dynamic?
In general, the police forces are a little less concentrated when they buy things. In Sweden, it's the first time where we see an entire country buying for everybody in one go. In US, for instance, when we are selling to the police force, which we are also doing with great success now, we have to go to many more places to sell. So if you want to sell to police officers in Los Angeles, there are about 50,000 police officers in Los Angeles, but they are split up into different groups so that you need to visit them all. It's not like they buy for everybody in one go. So you need, it's a bigger sales process. More people needed for that type of sales.
Mm. And also you mentioned your new product, Intercom, and I know that you're targeting existing clients for the first go around. And how would you foresee lead times there? Like, would it be shorter because they've used your products before, or?
We hope so. We hope so. Of course, now they know our company. They know what we can do. Many of them have given input, so we hope it will be shorter lead times. But still, most of the time, this is about a lot of money, so it has to go through public tenders. That's just the rules and the law. So we cannot do much about that. But we have, of course, been preparing customers for quite some time that we are working on this. So we do think that there are customers prepared to look into this shortly. But I don't think we will see huge orders until end of 2020, 21. First year will be smaller orders from, test orders from different units.
Hmm. And lastly, I was wondering how large a part of your sales are recurring in nature? Like your existing customers, how often do they order new products or more products?
Quite a lot. Now, it's a little difficult for us because they don't always tell us whether it's to replace or whether it's because they have more people. But we normally divide it in the way that everything we press release is either strategic or it's at least 10% of our revenue. And below that, we consider it some kind of recurring. It is definitely 20%, maybe more now, that is recurring business from existing customers, also from these programs that we just mentioned. We see orders from all these programs every year. They do buy something every year.
Thank you, Lars.
Thank you.